Hi, welcome to Spirited Living. I'm Deborah Roth, and I'm delighted that you found my website on your own journey toward reclaiming or maybe uplifting even more the presence of spirit, of mind, body, heart, spirit in your life. That is the essence of Spirited Living. And I wanted to just give you my own personal short welcome and give you an idea of how all of the work that I do fits together, whatever path, whatever branch, and I'll talk about that in a minute, you followed to get here. So I'm a big lover of symbols, as you can see. I'm surrounded by them, and they really represent all of the different types of work that I do, which started really in the 90s. The 90s were a huge decade of transition for me when I left the corporate world, and then I jumped into coaching. I was trained at Coach University. I became an interfaith minister. I discovered the divine feminine and started leading women's circles. I studied to be a certified counseling astrologer and studied other symbol systems. And all of that really represents my own yearning, which I hope is reflected in why you're here, to understand and to embrace all of the important qualities that make me who I am. And that one of the very first discoveries that I made back then was when I went to my first women's circle, and when I went to the Unitarian Church that I'm still a member of 30 years later, that introduced me to the divine feminine, to this idea of the goddess. And for me, it was revelationary and revolutionary. And it really, I've really come to understand that it is the underpinning of everything that I do. So one of my favorite symbols is a tree. I don't know if you can see it on my necklace. There's a beautiful little tree there. And that represents the trunk of the tree, and I love trees, those of you who know me, represents spirited living itself, my work in the world. The branches heading off, and I've got another wonderful thing that someone gave me years ago. The branches represent all of the different types of things that I offer to people, all my different tools, magical tools, practical tools. And the roots are really based in that very first introduction to the divine feminine. And I've come to realize that all of the work that I do is rooted in that. So some of it's obvious. My women's circles are very much about honoring our intuition, honoring our emotions, expressing our emotions, being emotionally intelligent, being vulnerable, being in connection and in cooperation and in relationship. All of those are what I call divinely feminine traits. Likewise, honoring our bodies, honoring nature through our bodies and elsewhere. I have on my little shelf behind me, I have symbols of the 4 elements, fire, water, air, and earth. And then I also have four different goddess representations with Isis from Egypt and Venus from the Greek pantheon, Kuan Yin from the Far East, and Yamaya, the Yoruban Yamaya. And when I do my Inner Goddess Team videos, I'm not going to go into lots of detail here. You can look at my YouTube channel, you can read my bio, you can go to the different coaching pages, but you'll find that the thread that connects them all is this commitment to going deep. That's what my spiral symbol is about. It's the journey inward, which is a divinely feminine journey, and then back out again to really claim those equally divinely feminine or masculine qualities that exist in the world, that we wouldn't get anything done if we weren't logical and rational and strategic and assertive and out there in the world. So I invite you to play with what your understanding is of the positive feminine, or what I call the divine feminine, and the qualities that are represented there. Understanding how they inform the obvious work that I do. If you want to do divine feminine coaching and learn more about how that's revealed to yourself and how you can reclaim that your feminine power source, that I'm happy to do that. But even my life and career transition coaching is very much about this journey inward and learning how to access your deep unconscious. That's where symbols lie. That's why I love symbols. Access your intuition to be able to express your emotions, because transitions are tricky times. They're tough times oftentimes, but we want to make them a little bit easier in our coaching. And the PQ coaching that I do, the positive intelligence coaching that I do, is very much around accessing the wide sage brain where our intuition lives, where empathy lives, where self-love lives, so that it's not sidetracked by the saboteurs, by those gremlins that tell us that we're less than anyone else. My relationship coaching, that should be an obvious one too, in terms of how important it is to communicate honestly and freely, to express our emotions in relationship. And then, of course, wedding ceremonies and my women's circles and the other ways that I teach about ritual, that I help people create their own powerful rituals, because wedding ceremonies, rituals are all symbolic actions that come from deep within us, that use symbols that represent what our deepest yearnings are for love, for obviously for wedding ceremonies and relationships, that's a big one, but just for finding meaning in the world. So I invite you to play with all those ideas. Look at my blog. There's some deeper articles about the divine feminine in there, and look at my YouTube channel, and then reach out and let's talk about how all of this weaves together to create a wonderful tapestry to guide you forward in a partnership that I hope we can embark on. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope to hear from you. Enjoy your journey through spirited living. Bye for now.